Reggae Interviews. Word sound power.
This is DJ 745 for Reggae Interviews up in Stony Hill. We know that musical influences run in families. We only need to look at the family trees of the original Wailers, Bob, Peter and Bunny, Dennis Brown, Freddie McGregor, to name a few musical families. Today we shine the spotlight on two of Beres Hammond's children. I want to say a warm welcome to the Wizard and also to Rasheed. How are you both doing today?
Wonderful.
Good,
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Well, I think that we've been kind of talking for quite a while, and I kind of feel as though we're in this era in music now where, you know, we've got the younger generations coming through and everyone knows Pops.
Yeah.
But we want to know about Pops' children and how you're both actually sort of like, you know, developing your sort of own careers in music as well. Okay. I think it's an honor. I mean, the Wiz, you must be in a small handful of females that are producing music presently on this island.
I would hope not, but apparently, yeah. We need more though.
We do. I mean, I think that in terms of the balance between male and female artists, I feel as though, you know, that's kind of, you know, evening out a little bit.
Yeah.
It's still heavily skewed towards male artists, but there's lots of female artists, you know, Naomi Cowan, Leela Ike, Janine.
Yes.
Then we sort of go talk about people like Nadine Sutherland, Tanya Stevens, right through to people like Judy Mowatt, Sister Marcia. But as far as female producers, I mean, I struggle to think of female producers' names apart from Miss Pottinger.
Yeah, that is true actually. And funnily enough, like my influences in terms of female producers is more like Missy Elliott, like people like that. That's who I really looked up to when I was growing up, you know.
Yeah. Fair enough. And Rasheed, you've been involved with Harmony House now for well over a decade, and I'm guessing that it was almost a given that, you know, being in a musical family, music was going to sort of enter your life at some point.
Yes. So at one point in my life, I didn't want to do music. I always said I would be the black sheep, you know. I wanted to play basketball.
Yeah.
I was always a fan of basketball. I love basketball. I mean, I always say, I'm not in no music. I do music for. But some way, somehow, you know what I'm saying, I can't stray from the DNA.
True.
That's exactly what happened. It found me. It found me. It's like the musical ears is just there for everybody in the family. Whether you do music at whatever level you're at, you can't run from it. So I basically I gave into it after a while. So yeah, it's been a beautiful journey since actually, you know, taking on the music and really taking on the music.
Yeah. And in terms of taking on the music, I think that you work in the capacity of a producer, just like your sister, and I think that you also double up as a road manager, and I think you do quite a lot of things behind the scenes.
A whole bunch of stuff. If you see Pops, you're gonna see me, most likely, you know. I just fill in where I can, you know, try to help out as much as possible, whether it be an assistant, a road manager, makeshift bodyguard, whatever it is, you know what I mean?
Keep it in the family.
Keep it in the family. Obviously, Mr. Hammond has the luxury of having his kids around him.
Yes.
So he definitely trusts everyone around him, you know what I mean? So as far as production is concerned, I actually just took on production, I would say probably like 2 years ago.
Okay.
2 years ago, you know, the pandemic, a lot of people are saying, you know, if you come out of the pandemic without a new talent, something is wrong with you. So I kind of just took on the production, you know. I started, you know, talking to my musician friends. I've always been around with a lot of my music palette. I can credit to her.
Right, okay.
You know what I mean? Because she used to pick me up from school. She's my older sister. Everybody think I'm a younger sister.
Everyone thinks I'm younger than
Yeah.
Okay.
She looks like a baby, but no. Well, so she used to pick me up from school, you know, when I was like in prep school, high school, mostly prep school. And she would be playing her CDs. At the time, CDs were still a thing.
Yes.
So she'd be playing a lot of Jamiroquai. She'd be playing a lot of Drake, Alicia Keys, and just a very eccentric mix
Of music, yeah.
So I can definitely credit my music palette, like I said, to her.
Right, okay.
And, you know, just being around the family as well. It's always been there.
Yes.
It's always been there, so I don't have to give thanks for this as well. So,
Yeah. Yeah, and we also have other siblings that are musically inclined as well. So we have your brother, DJ Inferno.
Yeah, one of the baddest DJs
For sure.
in Jamaica. He won the first Heineken Green Synergy that actually came to
No, it's
Jamaica.
Red Bull, I think.
No man, the first one.
Oh, okay.
The first Heineken Green Synergy was DJ Inferno.
I know.
And when the Red Bull, what was it? What was the name
Is
of
that
it?
Red Bull? I don't remember.
It was a Red Bull DJ competition.
Yeah.
And
Was this
he
the
won.
Culture Clash?
No.
No.
Before that.
Before that.
Before that.
Okay.
It was more geared towards DJs, not sound systems.
Sound
but-
systems.
Right.
And he won that one as well. So he's always on tour with us, with Mr. Hammond. He used to play on Fame FM.
Yes.
But like a very creative family.
For sure. For
Everybody in the family, all the kids are, some way, somehow involved
Like
in
entertainment.
entertainment.
In the entertainment, yeah. Because I think I met one of your older brothers who used to handle the distribution side of things.
Yes.
When vinyl used to press as well.
Yeah, man, Romy. Big up Romy anyway. I'm there. But he was doing what I'm doing now, essentially. You know what I mean? He's the original. He's like the blueprint for what I am now.
Oh,
almost,
yes.
In terms of, I take on the music a little bit more than him, but in terms of, just being around Pops and being that right hand, just being that person that he can trust, any type of,
Yeah.
that was Romy. And he's actually a wicked artist, like graphic artist.
Right, okay.
He could sit right here and just draw everything.
Wow, okay.
He just looks at this whole scene and draws it within like an hour perfectly.
Perfectly.
So, like I said, everybody in the family, all the kids are some way, somehow creative.
Creative, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But nobody decided to take up the baton of singing. That's a big challenge, right?
That's a tall mountain to climb. It's a lot to live up to. Not to say it's a pressure, but
Actually, our little sister can sing.
But
And I
she-
can
but she
sing.
afraid.
Yeah, she don't.
She's afraid.
Yeah.
Afraid.
And I sing for production purposes.
Right, okay.
yeah, she
I
definitely.
don't want to do the artist thing.
Okay.
Yeah, at all, but
Yeah, but she definitely does the singing
Does the
though.
singing, yeah.
But yeah, but look, her sister can sing too.
Okay, okay. Well, look,
She's very afraid.
okay. I think we're really excited to learn about what I'm going to call you part of the Harmony House, the next generation, where we're trying to sort of bring forth younger talent, younger artists and things into the mix. But before we do that, we need to get a little bit of a background. So the Wixard, I'm guessing that as a child, you grew up in studios. So, you were surrounded by obviously your father and of course, so many of the people that he's collaborated with. Share some memories of growing up in the studios. What comes into your mind right now?
Wow.
Too many.
Yeah. I guess as you would say, like you'd see a lot of like the prominent musicians, like a lot of them would come here. So I have memories of like Sly, Dunbar, Robbie,
Okay.
just sharing, tips. And Sly was actually the first person to say to me, hey, like drumming is just about like groove and it's not about all those fancy fills. It's just a feeling. Reggae music is a feeling, So I took that pretty much, But I've seen them all. Dennis Brown, too many people.
Too many
to count.
people.
Yeah, Maxi
Yeah.
Priest, all of them came here.
Yeah.
Fatis, everybody passed through here.
Pass through here. Yeah. Because I think I actually remember when Maxi actually came to Jamaica for the first time. This is probably around about
Right.
1987, and I think this was the time when he actually sang Wild World, and apparently he didn't want to sing the song,
Yeah.
and it was Robbie that actually said to him,
Yeah.
"Singer, you're going to sing that song."
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
this is when he collaborated with your father as well on
Around that time?
Around that time, yeah.
It's probably too young.
Too young. I'm going back too far then.
Yeah.
So the name The Wixard, in my mind, it sort of conjures up, descriptions of like an old man. And I'm sort of thinking, that in reggae music, we've got the scientist,
Right.
we've got the mad professor in the UK,
Right.
and you're the Wixard.
Yeah. But I didn't name myself The Wixard. My cousin actually gave me that name.
Okay.
Yeah. So I guess it was the beats I was making at the time. It's like, I have the perfect name for you. I'm going to call you The Wixard.
The Wixard.
I was like, what? Yeah, but it stuck.
It's
It's stuck. Yeah.
I was like, all right.
Yeah. It's funny because in reggae music, I always find that artists, producers, they always have a story behind how they actually got the
Gotcha.
name.
Yeah.
There's always a story to go with it. So what
Yeah.
was the name of the cousin that gave that name?
Courtney John, actually.
Courtney John. Okay.
Yeah. He gave me the name, Yeah, and that's it. It's no elaborate story.
And it's stuck.
literally just like you're the Wixard. And I said, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how did you first get into production and making beats?
Well, it started here, the studio downstairs, Selection. I don't know if you know the chord trinities, like the 88 keys. Maybe not. But yeah, we used to have a little sequencer on it. I just had like 16 channels, and I just try to make like beats like every day. I used to go downstairs like just actively making beats and thinking like everything I was making was like Pharrell and Timbo and
Wow.
yeah, that was my influence, and yeah, so that's how I really started.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
playing everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So would you say that those two names that you mentioned are some of your influences? Because I think when I've listened to some of your works, your beats are very experimental. It doesn't fit the mold of what people would sort of like say this has been made in Jamaica.
Got you.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get that a lot.
Perfect sense.
I get that a lot. Yeah. Yeah.
Which is good because you're almost expressing your creativity
Yeah.
for what you want to
For sure.
portray in your music and not sort of following the mold or tradition of this is how things have been done in Jamaica before or
facts.
this is what that producer's done. I'm going to try and replicate that.
And I think because it already exists, I'm like, I don't want to keep doing the same thing. I want to contribute in a different way.
Yes.
As my dad, he's probably one of the greatest ever do this thing, reggae. I'm like, all right, I probably need to find my own lane.
Right.
So I guess that's where that came from too.
Okay.
Yeah, and just like listening to different music, yeah, kind of just influenced that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've established now what some of the siblings do. We know that Courtney John is one of the cousins.
Yeah.
And he was actually one of the people that I think you did one of your first productions that was released, the Courtney John Experience.
Yes, Courtney John. Yeah.
Yes.
That was really an experiment.
Okay.
Yeah, just like a fusion of like electronic music and reggae. Yeah, so that was the main thing. Just trying something new.
Something different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
And then I think over the years, you've worked with people like Nyanda,
Yeah.
the Chemists, Naomi Cowan, Mr. Lex,
Yeah.
Jesse, Medisun. So, I kind of sort of feel as though, your catalogue of works is growing
Yeah,
year by year.
yeah, and vastly different artists, but yeah,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah. Okay. And Rasheed, you mentioned that you really sort of like, took your steps into production 2 years, so around about the time of the pandemic. Give the viewers a bit of an insight into some of the productions that you've been involved with that have been released so far.
Well, nothing has been released just yet. Everything is in the works, but most of them have been with Medi, which is Medisun. He's the artist we're working with right now. He's one of the the main ones in terms of Harmony House Next Generation. Wicked artist, wicked songwriter. Like,
Bad song, right?
oh god,
Yes.
man. So it's mostly been him. And what we've actually done, me, myself, me, Wiz, and Ferno, we've actually been going through the old tapes of like the selection rhythms.
Okay, that's
So,
interesting.
like you mentioned before the interview, you were here like 2000. A lot of the rhythms that were being done around that time, like late 90s, early 2000s, at this very house, we're basically using them
Those rhythms. Okay.
and putting them out as jugglings, because I feel like jugglings is kind of missing
Yes.
Yeah.
in the music right now.
Culture.
You know what I mean? And I feel like jugglings are what makes the biggest songs.
Yeah.
Like, if you can remember one time, the biggest artists were on one rhythm.
One rhythm. Yep.
One rhythm, and all the rhythm them, all of the song them is hits
Yes.
on the one rhythm. So that's one of the projects we actually have doing now as well, trying to bring out those jugglings and just kind of bring back that good feeling into the music.
Into the music. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So some of those rhythms that you're sort of describing are probably around the time of the Music Is Life album that your father did.
Yes.
So I'm thinking of rhythms that were things like the Rockaway,
Rockaway,
They're Gonna Talk,
They're Gonna
the
Talk,
Dusty Road,
Dusty Road, even before that.
even before that as well.
Even
Okay.
before that. So there's a lot of we'll go through the tape. There's a lot of surprises
Right. Okay.
that we found in terms of the artists and even the musicians. There's a lot of, like she mentioned,
Great, man.
when the studio was running downstairs, at any given day you could see Sly and Robbie, a Fatis, a Bo P, a Flabber Holt. Like, just the golden standard of musicianship in Jamaica. They all laid rhythms
Yes.
here. So a lot of those rhythms and musicians are the ones that we found on these tapes.
On these tapes.
Yeah.
And I just feel like we need to share them gems out with the people. Like
True.
I think the people deserve to hear this quality of music, you know. And who will take on to it will take on to it.
True.
Because it's quality music.
Yes, yeah. I mean, I think, you know, when you sort of describe that era in music, and certainly the music that has been released from Harmony House, those rhythms are kind of almost like timeless.
Oh,
Yes.
gosh, man.
Yeah.
Like when we're playing them over, it sounds like they make yesterday.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it's just it's refreshing.
Yeah.
It's a breath of fresh air when you hear them. You know, it just brings a whole different energy. You want to try all kind of different something with it. You're thinking about, you know, which artist
Fits that rhythm.
fits the
yes.
rhythm. You know, Medi gotta do everything. Medi try out for
Yeah, Medi's kind of an artist that I feel is so versatile that he can almost sort of like fit, his voice fits on pretty much any
Yeah.
style of rhythm.
Yeah, definitely. Medi, like I said, Medi's different. So we didn't have to talk much more about Medi, but you know, just thinking about the different artists you want to, you know, kind of mesh the sounds and see what can happen with these experiments. And I know these experiments are going to end up, you know, that's hits. Like literally the rhythm them is quality. And honestly, I can't wait. I can't wait to
Can't
share
wait.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, because I think when I spoke to Medi a few months ago, I think that he featured on the last rhythm project that came from Harmony House in 2022.
Yes.
The This Year Wanna Come.
This I want to call.
And
Yeah.
I'm one of these people that likes to study music, so I'm thinking, okay, so how does Medisun feature on this rhythm project? Where's the connections? And I guess that you've sort of answered that question in terms of the role that you've been playing in Harmony House for years and years, but more deeply or intensely over the last 2 years is
Yes.
probably where that connection comes together.
Yes, and that's about the same time. That's how long we've known Medi.
Right, okay.
Everybody sees Medi around us, and you know he seems like he's family at this point. But we met Medi like what, almost 3 years ago?
Yeah. During the pandemic.
During the pandemic.
During the pandemic, yeah.
You know, Alex Rivas, that's one of Chronix's, a member of Chronix's management team. She basically hit me up and said, you know, they're doing a writing camp.
Yes,
in
I remember
OG.
you saying.
And she wanted, like, you know, a veteran's touch. Basically at the camp. And I told her, you know, it's gonna be it's a long shot because Pops doesn't go anywhere, especially to a writing camp.
He doesn't write songs, does he? So
No, he will tell you that straightforward. When I write songs, so how can I go to a writing camp if I don't write songs? But long story short, we ended up going there, and you know, Natalie, which is Medi's sister, is the person who actually put the camp on. That's where we met Medi. That's where we met Natalie. We've all been like a very close-knit bunch ever since. So yeah, that's where we met Medi, and me and Medi we just clicked right off the bat, and we've just been doing music ever since. That's when I discovered, you know, he loves the vintage type of production. He loves, you know, like lovers rock, especially the British type of lovers rock. He loves that as well. He's actually in England right now. And yeah, like I said, I just can't wait for everybody to hear the music that we have coming out.
And I think in that time, in the last 2 years, I think that there is a couple of some collabs that your father did with artists that when I first heard about it, I thought this doesn't fit the normal pattern, and I feel as though one of you had an influence in this. So you know who I'm talking about, don't you?
No, she won't. Nah.
The Unruly one.
Yeah, Skull. Big up Skull. Anyway, you're there. How did that happen? Because so what it was is I knew him, you know, before he met Pops, and I think the initial meetup was one of Drake's albums. I think Drake wanted some kind of soundbite from Pops, and he wanted it for an interlude on his album. And of course, at the time, you know, Papi was getting signed to OVO, so Drake wasn't in Jamaica. He asked Papi to, you know, kind of talk to Pops a little bit, because he knows that Pops doesn't really, if you know Mr. Hammond, really know him, not really. He works off of vibes. He has to vibe with you. And at the time, him never know Papi personally. He's only worked off of what he's heard about him. So once he hears Unruly, him, I gotta say, well, Unruly kid. And I had to explain to Pastor, I'm like, no, that's just his moniker. That's just what he works off of. But he's a really good person.
Yes.
A really good person. And that's how the introduction happened. It was years ago. It's probably like maybe 7 years ago.
Okay.
And, you know, he's always seen him around the place. And, you know, he got used to him after a while. And it was about, 4 years ago? The God is Love song basically came out. Same exact thing. I don't want to get into too much details into how it happened, but that was basically it, you know.
They just vibe well.
Yeah. Because they're the same person.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're like...
just in different genres,
Different genres.
Papi is probably like the younger version of Mr. Hammond in terms of, not music of course, but how they behave, like the temperament and just the mentality and how they take on the music.
Yes.
They're almost the same person. That's why they click so well. That's why you see them in so many places just hanging out together because that's the energy.
Yes.
With them. So yeah, that is how that
came about.
That happened.
Okay.
Long and short.
Yeah. Okay. And in terms of going back to the writing camp that you mentioned, I know that we're still waiting to hear some of the fruits of some of the sessions and the recordings that took place. I know that there is a collab between your father, I think Jesse Royal, and Medi that we can look forward to.
Oh yeah, that song is something. The song is it's a hit. You know, it's definitely a hit. Something come from. It's definitely a hit. That's all I say. When the people hear it, they're gonna be more than satisfied.
Yeah.
And you know, there was more gems from that camp as well because Wiz, she was there as well. I brought Wiz to the camp, and you did what, like 4 songs? She did a lot of songs.
She did a lot of songs.
There was a lot of songs. There was a bunch of creative people in the same space, and there was like 4 different production rooms and people just bouncing all over.
Yes.
But a lot came out of that camp, and I'm thankful for that camp, like I said, because that's where we met Medi. A lot of great music was produced over there. It was a beautiful camp. So anyway, Natalie, they big up yourself. Medi, big up yourself as well. Alex, thank you for the invite. So yeah.
Sounds like there's lots of music to come. So, you know, you've shared obviously some insights into the music camp, the writing camp, the rhythm projects that you have plans with as well. Outside of those projects, Wiz, what else are you working on presently right now that you want to share with us, or that you can share with us?
I have actually I'm working on a house EP for myself.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's interesting. I think I was a lead producer on, Akala?
Yes.
Yeah, he has a project coming out next year, and I did most of the tracks on that album, so it's a hip-hop album, so.
Wow.
Yeah. Different, yeah. There's a few things I'm doing.
Right, okay.
In the works, yeah. I just signed on to be a lead producer on a podcast as well, so that's an interesting world to get into.
Okay.
Yeah, fiction podcast, yeah. A lot of things going on, man.
Right, okay.
Yeah. Oh, also there's, I don't know when this is coming out, but Naomi Cowan's single is dropping, Champion Bubbler.
Right, okay.
T. Walshifire. Check that out.
Yes.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Vibes.
Yeah, because I know that you worked with Naomi Cowan before, and she's worked with Walsh and Toddler.
Yeah.
So I can sort of see how the whole sort of chemistry locks together.
Yeah. And while she's one of my collaborators as well, it's good vibes.
Good vibes.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Sounds like there's lots of great stuff coming then.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And in terms of your past productions, you've also produced the title track on one of your father's albums from 2008.
Forgot about that,
it seems like so long ago. A Moment in Time.
Yes. Yeah, I did. For true.
Yeah. What was it like working with your father? Because I always sort of I have these same sort of challenges when I'm sort of trying to work on a project with my own children. In that there's going to be a difference in thoughts.
Yeah, but it wasn't. I think because I trusted him enough to, do his thing, and I was young at the time. I was just happy.
Yes.
Yeah, to have that kind of, I guess, musical genius, to be on one of my tracks. I was like, hey, do your thing, kind of a thing. Yeah. But it's one of those, it wasn't reggae. It was more like a jazz contemporary kind of 3/4 timing, and I wasn't sure if he was gonna like it anyway, but he did it.
He did it.
Yeah.
Okay. So was this a concept where you actually produced the rhythm
Yeah.
first, and then you got your father to listen to it and presented it to him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he liked it.
He liked
did
it.
his thing.
You got the seal of approval.
I did.
Good.
Yeah.
Are there any other works that are forthcoming that we can look forward to?
There are a few things. I guess I'm just forgetting them right now.
Okay.
But yeah.
Too much work.
Too much
Yeah.
works.
Working on a
Yeah,
lot
yeah,
of
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. What about the I know that there is a project coming later on this year, I think, the EP with Medi. What can you share about that EP?
It's gonna be, so both of us are taking on the production on that EP with Medi. It's gonna be, the beautiful thing about myself and Wiz and Medi is that we all have a wide palette for music. It's not limited to 1, 2, 3, 4, even 5 genres. It's all over the place. We're very open to listening to all types of music. So with the EP, you're gonna hear a fusion of a lot of things. Of course, it's Medi, so I'm not gonna leave out the roots. I myself, I love the roots as well, so I won't leave it out. And then Wiz with our 15 million different, which is a beautiful thing, you know, there are different fusions as well. So it's a mix of dancehall, roots. When I say roots, I mean like vintage R&B. We all love R&B. So just expect a really nice journey on the EP.
On the EP.
You know what I mean? We haven't solidified how many tracks, which is very difficult. It's always difficult to choose how many tracks you want to put in an EP because all the music is great.
It's great.
Yeah, it's just very fun working with Medi. So just expect really good music. Really well. I don't like tooting my own horn, but I mean, I'm almost a perfectionist when it comes to like doing anything at all.
Okay.
So I try my best. I put my best effort out
there.
in
Yes.
everything. So I can speak for myself and say it'll go really nice. It's gonna be a really nice album, EP. Everybody's gonna love it. Yeah.
Okay. And what about some of the other people that are involved in what we're calling the Harmony House, the next generation? So I'm thinking of people like Vibrations, Case.
Case. So they're very close. They work very close with us, but we don't limit it to just one set of artists. I actually work with whoever wants to work with me.
Okay.
So on some of the jugglings we have coming out, there's Chanel Muir.
Yes.
She actually has a song with Pops coming out on one of the jugglings. I have a few songs with Pops as well. The very fun experience working with him. There's so many. There's a lot of artists.
There's a lot of
Ramin, I've a couple of songs with Ramin as well. There's so many, I can't even list out all of them.
No.
There's a lot on the jugglings. Imaru, we left with Imaru. She has a lot of songs with Imaru.
Okay.
I have a few songs with Imaru. Like I said, K's, Vibrations. Who else is there? Savannah.
Okay.
Savannah, yeah.
Got some things with Jamari coming out as well. Jamari Morgan. Like we said, it's a lot.
There's a lot of music.
There's a lot of music because all we do is just sit down in the studio and we just get songs done. Get songs done. We'll figure it out after. But there's a lot. There's like a lot. Jamari's brother as well, Priel. It's a very long list. It's a very long list. Very, very long list.
Okay. And I think as we're sort of like, you know, talking of things like collabs, you just mentioned obviously Chanel Muir and your father. I feel that your father's in this place where he's bringing out these collabs that are kind of like unexpected.
Yeah, he's just doing it.
I know. It's just kind of like, you know, the popcorn one that we talked about, the 2 collabs. Then we had the one with Sean Paul that's doing big things right now, the Rebel Time.
Rebel Time.
I know that there's one with Kabaka coming as well.
Him and Popcorn and Kabaka on one song.
Yeah.
Again, this is all during the pandemic.
Yeah.
With the exception of the Rebel Time, which was done the other day.
Yes.
Most of these were in the pandemic. A lot of these were in the pandemic. He does have a surprise collaboration. I can't mention it right now, but it's gonna be. People are gonna be surprised
right, okay.
when they hear it. Just know that.
Yeah.
As far as like who's on the song with him in terms, it's like what 4 of them on the song.
Right. Okay.
He's adding more. It's about to turn into We Are the World essentially.
Okay.
But yeah, during the pandemic, we just sat in the studio. He was always in the studio, and there was nothing else to do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Apart from make music,
But create.
music.
Create.
Yeah.
So that's how those collaborations came about. It was really, you know, one night him in the studio, and then Popcorn, him forward, and then Medi's close to Kabaka, so that's how Kabaka came to the studio that night.
Right,
And
okay.
they all ended up in the studio at the same time, and Pop said, well, go in the studio. Kid, just go. And that's how that happened, you know. And when you're musical and you have a good chemistry with a person, the music is effortless.
Yes, it just flows.
And that's what happened. That's what happened during the pandemic. It was a very musical pandemic. Sizzler, you see me, I leave off all the name. I have songs with Sizzler too.
Okay.
There's just so many. A lot of work was done through the pandemic.
Through the pandemic.
Yeah, man.
Seems like we're going to be kept entertained on the radios and the dances for years and years by the sounds of just some of the things that you mentioned.
Yes, man. How many else?
Yeah.
How many else is coming back? They're never gone, but we're definitely
Active.
Yes. and getting work done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think what's also interesting is that, you know, when you sort of follow the history of Harmony House, it's always been a label that I think has supported up and coming artists before they actually, you know, sort of like, you know, hit the mainstream. So I'm thinking of people like Sizzler that you just mentioned.
Right.
I think Jack Cure's first album was recorded down here at Selection.
Yes.
Artists like Ginger. And it's good that you're both carrying that tradition through.
Yeah,
Of bringing
we
through
stayed true to it.
Yeah.
We stayed true to the format that was there. You know what I mean? That
Well, he's staying true. Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Left field. I'm like the
staying
sheep of that.
in terms of you know working with younger artists.
Artists.
so,
For sure.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not just the established ones. You want to establish some artists for yourself.
For
as well.
yourself.
We saw the blueprint already.
Yes.
You know, so we can't really move outside of that. I mean, we could, but why would we? So, yeah, that's what's going on with Harmony House. Expect a lot of songs, a lot of new artists, a lot of new faces, but all quality. A lot of different stuff, but all quality.
All quality, yeah.
Between me, myself. Why do I keep saying that? Me, Wiz, Ferno. We all have something coming up.
Yeah. But I think we have to give credit to the, you know, all of the next generation that are putting the works together, because I feel as though musically we're in this time where economically it sometimes doesn't actually make sense to put out music because of the way that music's digested now. You know, gone are the days of vinyl and CD and everything. So, you know, a lot of people, you know, certainly some of the older generations of producers saying, well, that doesn't make sense in me putting out music and paying musicians and things because it's going to be on a free download the next day.
It's not valued the same.
There's no value to it.
Yeah.
So, you know, credit that you're still sort of wanting to maintain that consistency. I like how you said about the perfectionism, because I think that is what's needed within the music.
For sure.
You need a standard. There has to be, you have to strive for some sort of quality. There needs to be a standard. And I feel like the golden standard is not, no disrespect to anybody who's doing music now, but it's not now. The golden standard is the ones who set the pace for all of us.
Yes.
To be doing music. You know what I mean? They're the creators, they're the originals. And I would never ever act like I just came here like that. No, I have to kind of pay homage to where it's coming from and add our touch along
Yes.
the way. That's
Add your
how
little
it's all-
spice.
Right.
Right.
That's how everything evolves. You add a little spice to it, but you don't stray from the original.
Yeah.
Get that along before you.
True.
So
No, well, you don't strip.
again.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the idea I have for music. You know, I don't want to stray too far
True.
from the original. You know what I mean? Because I think music deserves a balance, a good balance, and a good balance is not necessarily 50-50. A good balance can be 95-5. It just depends on what is placed where and how much of it is there.
Is there?
You know what I mean? I feel like right now, roots, lovers rock, I just feel good music is not really there right now. I feel like it needs to be more. I'm not saying that something else needs to come out of the way. I'm just saying that that type of music needs to be pushed.
Yeah, there needs to be a space for it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I feel like reggae needs to be celebrated again. Love dancehall. I can't sit down and lie to you and tell you say I don't listen to dancehall. I'm not.
No, but we all love it.
We all love it. That's what culture, you know what I mean? But at the same time, don't leave out the roots.
The roots. Yeah.
Don't leave out the roots. I just say to come from, worldwide, everybody loves us for that. You know what I mean? So try not to stray too far from it.
True.
The balance.
Yeah.
Again, striking that balance. It's not necessarily 50-50. It could be 60-40, 90-10, whatever it is. But just make sure you have a piece of everything in there.
Yep.
And stop leave out the roots. I'm not gonna say it again.
Yeah. Well, look, I think from what you've both said to me today, it sounds like there are exciting times ahead. We're definitely going to be looking forward to hearing some of these musical projects that are forthcoming. Just keep doing what you're both doing, and just keep striving. And like you said, stick to the roots.
Amen.
Yeah.
Stick to the roots.
Yeah. What advice would you both give individually to people that may be watching today that are wanting to maybe take their first little footsteps into the music industry, but in particular in terms of being in production as opposed to an artist? What are the gems that you've both sort of like picked up on the way that you can share individually with our viewers?
If you want to get into production, patience, yeah. I would say, yes, it's a microwavable era that we're in now, but just stick to it, because it might not happen. It's not going to happen overnight for you, right? Yeah, so just stick to it. That's the greatest advice I've gotten. So I would impart that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
What have you learned?
Trusting yourself.
Yeah.
Trust yourself. Know what you have. Be open to criticism. You have to be teachable. Yeah. You have to be a very you have to be a student. Be a student of the music. So find again that balance of trusting yourself, but listening to what others have to say in terms of what you're doing, what you can do, and having that same patience, like we mentioned. You have to, even though it's a microwavable time we're living in, you have to hold out. Again, you know, our father, him never busted like what, 90s? Like so. Mid-90s, and he's been about it early 90s, and he had his first hit song was in the 70s.
Yep.
And he didn't get the run.
And he didn't get the real run until like early 90s up until now.
That's patience, boy.
That's patience.
Yeah.
That is holding out.
Yeah.
And you know, worked out. So you have to have patience. You know, I see that in front of me. That's a constant reminder of being patient.
Patience.
1970 something is not a short time. A long time that, you know what I mean?
What I will say to study music, know the history of music, you know. Music not just start from what you're seeing now. You have to go back to the roots of it.
Yep.
What Rasheed said, understand it, you know. That's the only way we can evolve the music to a place where, you know, even the greats, the elders can say, all right, you guys have finally done something that we appreciate for true.
Yes.
You know, so.
And don't limit yourself.
Yeah.
Don't limit yourself. It's not only, you know, reggae, but once you start traveling, God bless whoever gets to travel, but once you get to travel, you actually see that there's more to the music than just your immediate environment. You know what I mean? Most artists, where you say big, or what you see as a big artist internationally, they mesh their roots, their original sound, with what they're hearing around them.
Yes.
So, you know what I mean? Just be creative, and have patience and trust yourself. Trust yourself, have patience, exercise as much humility as possible, because that's one thing, you know, our father always, he's not a man of many words, but the one thing he always has told us is to have respect and be humble. In all situations, no matter who you talk to, it doesn't matter where you are, exercise some humility. And, you know, I've tried my best to carry that out through my whole life. I don't think many people can say anything bad about Mr. Hammond's children, to be honest. You know, we're very, when you say we don't even know, say we. You know what I mean? Because we don't really walk with it all over the place, you know what I mean? But humility, patience, trust yourself.
Well, look, the Wiz, Rasheed, I want to give thanks to you both for having a reasoning with us today. I'm sure we're going to do this again as well when we have more music and things to talk about and life as well. But we give thanks to both of you for spending some time with us today. Enough respect.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Reggae Interviews. Word Sound Power.